Welcome to Impact Concord NC, a community online presence featuring local small businesses, charities, unique personalities, and even just regular folk who live and work in our community and make an impact on the lives around us. I'm Neil Pender, a local business owner, and I've lived here since 1980. I named this group Impact Concord because it is the mission of this outlet to provide good news about our fellow citizens making some kind of an impact. And if you just thought of someone who might fit that description, please reach out to me in a direct message or at my various contact methods below. I'd love to feature them in a video like this one. Today, we're talking to local Farm Bureau insurance agent and owner of his own agency, Sean.Obrien. I met Sean before either one of us had any idea what we wanted to do in life. That's right, high school. We played high school football together, and back then it seemed like every one of us wanted to just move away and get away from Concord. But Sean and I went away to school and then came back and settled down in Concord, started our own businesses, and it's been many years that we've both been established. So great to connect with him. He's a wealth of knowledge. He's been in the business 18 years and just knows his stuff. I've had him talk to groups before, and every time people come up to me at the end and say, wow, he covered something I had no idea about and made it interesting. So you are in for a treat. Sit back and enjoy some words of wisdom about insurance and how coronavirus is affecting that industry and how you can protect yourself a little better and be a little more prepared in the unfortunate event that could happen to any of us at any time. So have a listen as I talk with Sean.Obrien with Farm Bureau Insurance of Harrisburg. We are here today with Sean.Obrien, owner of the Farm Bureau Insurance Agency here in Cabarrus County. And I've asked Sean to join me today to talk about things that will be relevant to us who live here in Concord, in the Cabarrus County area. I'm going to let Sean give his own bio. He and I go way back all the way to high school. Played high school football together, and just real glad to see him running his own shop here for a long time now, and love to get the small business owner perspective, especially on this latest current event we're dealing with. Sean, would you like to give us some idea of a little more of your bio?
Yeah, I'm Sean.Obrien. I'm a native here of Cabarrus County and have lived here all my life. Went to Odell Elementary up through Northwest Middle and high school. As Neil alluded to, we played football together, go Trojans. Finally seeing some success with Northwest Cabarrus, as are a lot of our athletic departments throughout the county right now. So it's pretty exciting times to be in Cabarrus County, but I've certainly been through the educational system here in Cabarrus County, and what a great one it is. I went to East Carolina University, and after graduation, did exactly what I wanted to do. Went to school for public relations, and wanted to go into NASCAR. And so I did that, worked in sponsorships and marketing for 6 years. And then I decided that when I found out I was blessed enough to get married, when my wife, Amy, and I decided we were going to get married, we decided I no longer wanted to travel. So wanted to try to find something that would keep me a little bit local. She was an adjuster with Farm Bureau Insurance and asked me to go speak with someone locally. So I did, and 18 years later, here I am. I've been in the county for 18 years. I love it. Sorry about that. You still there?
Yeah.
Had a little technical glitch there.
That's all right.
So yeah, I've been here for 18 years now, and I've been managing the Harrisburg Farm Bureau Insurance for the past 6 years. And so we have a great staff here. We've got 4 agents that work with myself, as well as a complete support staff. And so that's where I'm at.
Awesome. It was nice. It's funny. It felt like everybody in high school, when we were in high school, wanted to move away. And then so many of us ended up coming right on back, because it was probably fine at the time, but it is absolutely, hometown has grown into a place that a lot of people want to be. So it's cool.
Well, I've certainly seen the changes over my lifetime here. And I tell you, there's nowhere else that I would rather live than right here in Cabarrus County. I think it's a spectacular place. made up of great people with hope and optimism abound all around, with so many opportunities. And we are just in a great location. And I'm just blessed to be a part of this community.
I feel the same. So we have a bit of a current event among us right now. What has this coronavirus lockdown, shutdown, all of the latest and greatest we've been dealing with as a community, what has that done to your industry?
Well, we've seen different parts of it slow down somewhat, and I think that the tentacles of this pandemic reach out to every part of society and in our community right now. And so we're dealing with things as well, being short-staffed and just the challenges that come along with it. But there's also great opportunities that come along. And, you know, one of the things we're still seeing, mortgages getting done and people buying homes. This is still a hot market, you know, in the state and in the nation, really. So when people are buying homes, they have to insure those as well. The banks aren't letting them close those loans without insurance. So we're still very busy on that front. But, you know, we're very competitive with our auto, home, life insurance. So we're seeing, you know, a little bit of slowdown, but not too much. You know, one of the things, Neil, that's been on my mind and whenever I think about what we can do while we're at home, right? There's a lot of things going on, but let's first talk about how we got home, right? Because we were either asked to go home from our jobs, or we were furloughed or laid off or whatever. And so one of the big things, the most important things that we have is life insurance. And we've really seen an uptick on curiosity on life insurance. And there's a lot of folks out there that, you know, in their mind, whenever I talk to folks about securing that coverage for their family, well, I have it at work. Well, now they're finding out that they don't have it at work because that life insurance went away when their job went away, or it's on pause, and so is their benefits. So that's one thing that's very important to do right now, is to review what you do have and whether it's in force at work. And if not, now is the time to reach out to an insurance professional, whoever that may be, and get some advice and direction on planning your family's future. At the home, you know, things that you can do right now that while you're stuck inside and you're looking for things to do, and you've cleaned up all the closets and you've organized and everyone's been doing all these things. One of the great things that I encourage everyone to do, even whenever I meet with them, is to do a video inventory of your home. And so one of the things I'm talking about there is just take and pan through each room, open the drawers up, go in the closets, and really doing a video inventory of the things you have, because in the event of a total loss and you have a homeowner's claim, one of the things that they're going to ask you to do is do an inventory list. And so we can always remember the chair in the background there, or the recliner, your favorite recliner, the lamp, the sofa, the dining room set, all the big things. We remember those. But then when you start going through and you're thinking about all the picture frames, you're thinking about your junk drawers. If you had to replace your junk drawers, right? People would be amazed at how fast that adds up and the monetary value that goes along with it. And so whenever there's a total loss, and recently, even before, just on the you know, before we got into the pandemic, we had the tornadoes that came through here, and we had a total loss on one of those out in up near the landfill, up near old Salisbury Concord Road in that area. We had a total loss, and so the person was a little bit distraught and didn't have a clue where to start. And I said, listen, you need to list everything. And I remember going out there and looking. There was a big giant package of Bounty paper towels that I saw laying over in the debris. That wasn't cheap, and now it's at a premium, right? And so, but that's, you know, $25, right there. And you don't think about those things, but they do add up if you think about starting to replace everything in your cupboard, all of your toiletries. You start thinking about if you had to replace, especially for you, all of your makeup, right? Not you, but for those that do choose to wear the makeup, it costs a lot of money if you had to replace it all at once. So that's one of the things that I encourage folks to do while they're at home. Inspect your home, because in most policies in North Carolina, there are exclusions. So familiarize yourself with the exclusions in your homeowner's insurance policy. One of those things is rot is excluded in most all policies. A continuous leakage and seepage over time is the verbiage that's used. So when you think about that, go under your crawl space and look under the wet areas. And when I say wet areas, I'm talking about your bathrooms, your kitchens, your wash areas. Pull the insulation down, look up there, make sure there's no wet spots or anything that you need to be aware of, because sometimes if you let those things go, it's too late. And if it's not covered, then you're looking at a really big expense versus something you could have done much sooner. So I just encourage everyone now, do that now, and then do it periodically, every year or a couple of years. Make sure you're inspecting your home and doing your due diligence, because it's a contract between, the homeowner and the insurance company, and there is responsibility that comes with owning that home and part of that contract.
Yeah, that's great advice. People don't think about those things.
Yeah.
That severe weather that we had before the coronavirus, what sorts of things? I know you had the total tornado loss. What's flooding? That's probably a little more of a common thing that we see around here than wind-related things. What can you talk about?
In certain areas, flooding can be an issue, but there's only one policy in North Carolina that has flood included, and that's a mobile homeowners policy. So most all other insurance policies do not have flood. That's a separate policy that you need to look into. And I think that people would be pretty surprised that it's really not as expensive as you might think, especially if it gives you the peace of mind to know that you're safe in the event that there would be a catastrophic loss.
Sure. What about some maybe some other things that people may not really think about? I have a couple guitars here and there. And how would you cover something like that with a typical policy?
Well, typically, on your homeowners, most homeowners policies are going to cover 70% of whatever coverage A or whatever the home is insured for. So if it's a $100,000 home, you're going to have roughly $70,000 worth of contents if you have a package policy, such as an HO3 policy. And so contents are covered, but they're covered for named peril. So let's say that you're really going after a few riffs and you're really doing a great job jamming, right? Having a great jam session, and you get a little bit carried away, strap breaks, and that Les Paul you have flies into the wall and breaks. That's not covered under most homeowners policies, if you will, collision. Okay.
Right.
That's why you would need to schedule that musical instrument so that it can open up and give you much more broader perils to insure it against, and for not a lot of money. Same thing for art collections, for jewelry. Most insurance policies cover you up to $1,500 for theft, and then forced entry has to be shown. But you can schedule that jewelry, and that covers you for mysterious disappearance. And mysterious disappearance sounds very mysterious, doesn't it? But that could be something personally I've seen with my sister, where she had set her diamond ring down on the bathroom countertop. Yeah. It was soaking in solution, and my nephew flushed it, and he come running in there and said, "Look, Mommy, flushing bubbles," and hers was not covered. It wasn't covered for that under the typical homeowners. But if she would have had that insured, then certainly if she would have had it endorsed, it would have covered that. Wow. And so same thing, there's sometimes people don't think about, let's say that you're in an auto accident, and it happens a lot. Things go missing in auto accidents. Hands hit, you go flying around, and stones pop out. And so that's really important to think about, because most people are like, well, I'll just put it in the safe. Well, that's great. But there's other times whenever it can be beneficial to have that endorsement. And so same thing for guns. Guns are typically only insured up to $10,000. So for those high value items, you want to make sure that you're endorsing those and taking the precautions that are needed to cover your most precious commodities.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And another thing that we're seeing right now is during this pandemic is a lot of folks have went out and they've stocked up on food. Recently we're seeing in the news that, there's some shortages of meat in some areas. Well, a lot of people have already went out and stocked up on a lot of those things. They have outside freezers. They have the refrigerators packed out. Well, if one of these storms comes through, we're expecting severe weather in the next couple of days. And let's say that it knocks power out for a few days and all of your food goes bad in the refrigerator. There's an endorsement that you really need on that for refrigerated property coverage. It's only about $10 a year added onto your homeowners. And it's got less of a deductible typically than what your general deductible is. And it'll pay you typically up to $500. But when you go to replace, and again, doing an inventory list of everything that's in your refrigerator, a lot of times I get people that tell me, well, I don't have $500 worth of items in my refrigerator. I've got $100. That's fine. But now we're seeing that there's a much bigger scale of folks who are storing food. And so it's important to protect that if that's important to you.
Great point. I've been fortunate enough, knock on wood, not to have had any major issues. And so I imagine a lot of people are like that. You maybe begrudgingly get insurance until you need it. What would be the typical course of action if something were to happen? What's a typical order of events as far as making a claim?
Well, when making a claim, it's really important that backing up, this is a really good time while folks are at home to review their coverages. And if you don't know what you have, get in touch with your insurance professional, your agent, have them go over that. And that's why it's very important, I believe, not to shop your insurance on the internet, but rather to have an agent that you can trust here in the community. And we have lots of great agents and business owners here in Cabarrus County that can help with those needs. And I have many friends in the industry, not just with my company, with Farm Bureau, but all around. And there are some very wise folks. And so I encourage everyone to go out and make sure that you're reviewing your policies. This is the time to do that. I alluded to that earlier about finding out what's covered, what's not covered, how much you're covered for, are you covered correctly? Those are the things to know now, not when you have a claim. The worst time to find out that you're not covered is when you have a claim.
Yeah.
Because that's hard conversations to have with folks, and they don't understand that. But in the event that you do have a claim, the first thing you do is call your agent, and or call your local agency, and they should be able to walk you through that and to tell you, what's going on. It's a lot of insurance companies right now are in the same boat that a lot of folks are in. You got short staffs, you got split shifts, things like that. So we're encouraging everyone to be patient. We're all in this together. They will get to you as soon as possible. The general rule of thumb is between 24 and 48 hours. Sometimes it's much sooner than that. Right now, it may be a little bit longer, but especially if there is, a major storm or major claims that are coming through, those start stacking up. And so the sooner that you can get in and report that claim, the better. So it's always good to have that 1-800-CLAIMS number, have that agent's number, someone on call that you can trust and you can call on to help walk you through those situations.
And then you make that phone call and they send somebody out?
Yeah, so, well, I think a lot of times it's good to discuss that with your agent to find out if it's worth filing a claim. So a lot of folks will, one of the things that I see, unfortunately, especially when people come to me with new business and every company does what they call a clue report, and they look at your loss history and how many claims you file. And I've gotten folks who file something every time a storm comes through, and they're not paying out, or they're only paying out a couple $100. And so that's really not what you want insurance to do. That doesn't look good for insurance when they're underwriting your policy. So I think that it's really good to always discuss that with your insurance professional to find out if this is worth filing a claim, first and foremost, or having someone And a lot of times, the agent or we can refer different folks to come out and take a look, or you can choose anybody you want with our business to come out, take a look at your roof, or take a look and find out, is that a major issue or something minor that's going to be less than your deductible? But in the event that, yes, it's worthy of a claim, so we're going to file the claim. That claim needs to get assigned to an adjuster, a licensed adjuster. I'm not a licensed adjuster. I'm a licensed salesperson. Totally different license in North Carolina. That adjuster is then going to get in touch with you, like I said, between 24 48 hours, and they're going to come out and they're going to assess the damages and make a decision based on that. During that time that you're waiting, it's best to go ahead and get estimates, on what your damage is. Start the process so that you have everything ready. Take pictures when you can take pictures. It's all, and document is what I encourage everyone to do. One of the big things, this is a major thing, especially with lightning. Lightning strikes and your air conditioning goes out and it fries your motherboard or whatever it is. It's very important. That needs to be inspected by a licensed electrician to determine if that's what that is. And typically you can't get rid of that unit until it's inspected by the adjuster. So even if you got to have somebody to come out, leave that old unit there until the adjuster tells you to get rid of it. So it's very important to have those open lines of communication whenever you're doing these things. Sort of the same thing, when we're talking about, let's say that you're out and you have an auto accident, and we're switching gears a little bit. A lot of folks think, oh man, I got to get a rental, I've got to get all this stuff, but there is a process to a claim. Companies aren't just taking your word for it and sending a check. So I tell everyone, hey, if you need a rental, open it up on your credit card. They're not going to charge you until at the end until you turn it in. So during that time, you should be able to get it figured out if indeed you need a vehicle. So those are again things that we can do as consumers to help us through a bad situation, because it's not a good situation whenever we have claims.
That's great. Those are great little nuggets of wisdom.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that, Sean. I think the viewers probably got a lot of good information that they can actually use. And I know you've spoken for other groups that I've been involved with, and you're always just a wealth of knowledge, and we just really appreciate that. Would you like to let everybody know how they can reach you?
Yeah, so if you want to call my office, 704-455-4CAR. It's pretty easy, 704-455-4227. I'm on Facebook. I have a company page there. You can certainly go to that, or email me, Sean.Obrien at ncfbins.com. Harrisburg Farm Bureau Insurance, Google that, I'll pop up, and you should be able to find me.
Excellent. Sure appreciate it, sir.